So we've done a series of jobs at this point, right? Restaurants, food delivery, car salesman. What was it? What was the first moment that the idea of working in IT entered into your world?
So, it was 2000, I believe it was 2011. A man is a failure. I'm talking about myself. I was disappointed on myself. I was disappointed that this beautiful girl married me, my wife, and I was not able to provide a good life for her and my two kids. And we were living in a basement of this friend, which is like this grocery store owner. He was a very nice guy, very significant impact on my life. And in his basement, there was one room. It's not even room, it's just one place. And we had to put curtain in between from IKEA, put it there in the ceiling. And that one side is my two kids' bedroom. Other side was me and my wife. At night, we have to put the curtain, and in daytime, you put it back. It's your living room.
Yeah.
So I was living there. The rent was $700 or $800. I don't clearly remember. We didn't have sink. We didn't have a stove. At that point in my life, if you tell me, Kuzzat, you're a loser, I was like, of course, yeah, I'm a loser, right? So it's like this poverty and the difficulties in life, it crushes you, right? It takes away your true identity. It's just like you're a totally different person. So I hated end of the month because I know that I have to pay the rent and the bills, things like that. Overdraft protection fee. Like poor people like me, they understand what does that mean. Multiple times I would get overdraft protection fee, things like that. One of the most difficult thing is my second son, Ansar. Number two, she was my girlfriend in college. We got married, right? We're a kid. I mean, it's not like I know everything. And when I had the first kid, I still felt like I was a kid, right? Now I have a second one in the United States. No grandpa, grandma to teach you anything. I didn't know what is asthma. Didn't have a concept of asthma. So my son would have asthma attack, right? And his baby, obviously, if it's bigger boys, is sometimes fine. They can speak, but he was baby. He would have asthma attack, and we would have to take him to the hospital. And one time I took him to ER, and because he couldn't breathe. So what they did is put him on nebulizer. I didn't even know what's nebulizer. They put him in nebulizer, and I remember they sent me $5,000 a bill, medical bill. I was so scared.
Yeah.
And I remember the point that I was so scared to go to ER every time he has attack. I had to wait one time that I thought he was dying. That was the time that was okay. It's time to go to the hospital. Imagine it's a life and death situation for your kid, and you're scared to go to hospital because you're scared of a medical bill. So giving you a little bit background what life I was living. When you do package delivery, you have to look for your packages and sort it based on the location. I was sorting my package in the morning in Sterling in the warehouse. And there's a guy, he was like, hey, he was a guy from my community. He's like, hey, I'm learning, coding. I look at him and was like, of course. I was thinking, of course you learn coding. This guy was attending, working in there. His parents were rich, sent him money.
Right.
And he was working in the package delivery. At the same time, he was studying master in information technology. I was like, of course, you're studying in college. You have college degree. You're doing masters. Of course. I didn't think too much. It was I think one Friday, he was like, hey, I'm learning coding. And do you know that guy? He mentioned a name. I was like, yeah. He found a job for $83,000 in San Diego, whatever. I was like, what? 83,000? That year I was making 28,000 before the tax and deductions and all this gas bills. I don't know, bro. I don't know how to survive, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what I eat in that. But, God is great. But anyway, I didn't die. But anyway, at that time, I had this thought, right? The reason is I know this guy who found a job, and he was working. I heard that he was working in a pizza shop in McLean, Virginia, where I have a property now. So I heard that was very rich place, and very rich people live there. Obviously, it's very expensive place. And because, people living in a big mansion that time, when you leave an apartment, everything is mansion, especially basement. And I heard that you get good tips. So my dream job was getting into that pizza delivery shop as a driver.
Yeah.
So obviously they were not looking for a driver. So that's why I know him. So he found a job. And then I think it was a Bangladeshi person teaching in a small scale, teaching people how to code. I was thinking, okay, Kuzzat, you are stupid. They're smart. You have broken English. They have great English. You don't have college degree. They have college degree. And they're learning coding. What about you? And I was like, okay. It took them 6-7 months. I said, if I don't take a shot, remember that I took a shot and left China?
Yes.
So if I don't take a shot, how do I know? And
right.
Obviously, I don't have any choice, right? It's not like I have 18,000 choice, so I just pick and choose, right? So I had no choice. So I was talking, okay, what I'm doing if I'm not learning coding next year this time? High likely I'll be delivering packages, chased by dogs, peeing in a bottle in the car.
Yeah.
So if I take a shot, it's 50-50. You throw a coin, it's like other side's 50, with this side's 50, it's 50-50 chance. So I was like 50-50. Even it's like 1%, it's greater than zero. Why don't I take a shot? So it took them 6 months. Because I'm stupid, it's going to take me 12 months, but I want to take a shot. So I went home. Like always, I talked to my wife, great woman. She was incredibly supportive. And she said, Kuzzat, you're smart, you can do it. Like always, she was encouraging me. And while I'm learning coding, what I'm going to do? I had to work, things like that. I worked for a few months, but it was difficult. And then I remember she called her dad, cried, and talking for 3 hours. I felt like maybe it's 2, maybe 30 minutes, but I felt like 3 hours. She was explaining this thing's going to change our life, how after this thing's, everything will be solved. All the problems in life will be gone. This is a time, all these things she was selling as if this is she was selling heaven to her dad. And her dad at that time was running a restaurant. That time didn't have concentration camp, no political issues. So he sent my wife a few $1,000s. And that was a bridging point, right? So I remember that I went to the library when there's a star in the sky, and I came back home when there's a star in the skies. So obviously 10 hours of learning coding. I look back to my Amazon purchase history. It was mostly books in those days, right? Imagine that I had literally $20. I would buy books for $20. I remember one time I took my older son, Tarek. We went to this Walmart. There was a toy called Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
It's like, it says press me, right? It has a button. So my son presses it. It opens up, Buzz Lightyear. It's like, so we have different version of the story. I explained my son why he should not have this toy.
Okay.
To try to convince him. Imagine your son want a toy.
Yeah.
It was $49. My calculation is I have to work 5 hours is $49.
Yeah.
Right. And I couldn't buy him. So I had to explain, give this 3-4 years old reasoning why he should not buy this toy. So I had to work so hard to learn coding. And imagine that the point I want to make is I didn't have $50 to buy toys for my son, but $20, I bought books about Agile, Scrum, all that stuff, trying to memorize the vocabularies and trying to visualize myself in it as a scenario, things like that.
Right. It's interesting you said you went to the library. So, you were buying books, that would help. But when you went to the library, were there a lot of resources that would help you as well?
The library has general stuff, right? They're not going to have the specific things that you might need, right?
Yeah.
And plus, I want to draw lines. I want to highlight. So I think the value is there. Even library has a free. I would prefer my own book as just like I'm a book person, right? And it took a few months, 10 hours of study, reading, memorizing, recording myself, interview questions, things like that. And I went to market. And I went to many interviews, and this one face-to-face interview, it was summer 2012, I believe, right? And I had face-to-face interview. And I was so dumb that I went to Macy, I paid $200 for a suit and tie.
Yeah.
Sure. You tell me, what stupid guy would wear a black suit and tie? Like, what is this? You're applying for FBI or something? So I went to interview like that in this hot summertime. It was like 4 hours interview, 5 hours, it was like panel interviews, 2 people were interviewing, and another guy would talk to me, another guy would talk to me. So multiple people would talk to me. Obviously, it's a sign that they want to hire me, I guess.
Yeah.
They just want to like everybody to see if I'm a jerk or not.
Right.
It was not about the interview. If you listen, if all the managers want to meet you, it's not like they love you. It's like literally they hired you. They
Yeah.
just want to take a look one more time.
Right.
So I didn't know that. So I was just going there. And that month was Ramadan.
Mm.
You know what Ramadan Muslim people do like me? It's like no water. You know, it's like in Ramadan people talk about like not even water. Yeah, not even
Not
water.
even water.
Right?
And you're,
From the morning to until the sunset.
yeah, and it's August. You're in a black suit.
And I'm in a black suit. And you know what is interesting? This is like inferiority complex, I would say. I don't know how to say it. Anyway, it's like it's like this, bro. Listen, what people learn, how in that time, where people learn about Islam, probably from Fox News, right? You know, this guy says Allahu Akbar and he blows himself up.
Yeah.
That's probably the imagination,
association
that they have. So I don't complain, right? So it's like what's happening in the world. So Islam has pretty, I don't know, maybe have some sort of negative impact on people's like thought process or how they judge. So not there were like a racism or bigotry against Islam. So I went there at the interview. The guy says, "Do you want water? You seems like you're thirsty, right? Obviously, you look like I looked extremely thirsty, and it's August, and I'm in the black suit, and I'm fasting in Ramadan, and I said no. He said, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Yeah." So I couldn't tell him that I was fasting because I thought that if he finds out I'm Muslim, they're gonna give me offer.
Yeah.
That was a small detail I was thinking. They were not racist. They were amazing people. I was just thinking too much. Honestly, the place that I got hired, they had a room dedicated for prayer.
Oh, that's
like,
beautiful.
This is not even in some Muslim countries you don't have that. So that's why I said America's great. So anyway, so I finished this interview. I am one day I was sitting applying for jobs in Panera Bread, Fairfax. It's in front of Fairfax Library. There's Panera Bread there. So the reason you go to Panera Bread, they have great chocolate pastry and cheap coffee, right? $2-3, you get free Wi-Fi. You're sitting outside. I'm applying for a job, and this HR lady, her name is Jennifer. She called me. She's like, "Kuzzat, congratulations. The team love you, and we would like to know that if you want to join our company as well." I was like, "Yes, of course." And she said, "We're thinking about probably around like $93,000 and with 15 days vacation with a full healthcare package. Is this something that you would be interested in?"
Hell yes.
I'm like, my heart is beating. You know what I was thinking that time?
What?
If I immediately say yes, I was scared that I would look very desperate.
Yeah.
Right? That time I was making no money. I was like broke, zero. Right? So I didn't want to sound very, very desperate. I thought that I was so scared that they were going to take away the offer. So I held myself. I took a deep breath and I put the phone back. I was like, "Listen, Jennifer, it's not about money. I love the people. I love the culture. Amazing team. I think on top of money, I'm going to learn so many things in this company that is more greater than the money itself." I was like, she is like, I've never heard someone joining our company like this.
Especially some of the coding. Yeah.
We love to have you.
Yeah.
So I got my first job in IT. For the first 3 months, I felt like I was going to get fired every single day. Every single day. I was so it's not about my managers or bad culture. It's about I was freaking broke, poor to my bones, that I didn't have confidence, right? So what I did is I went to work at 7 a.m. in the morning. I prayed while I'm driving from the parking lot to my desk. I'm praying to God to not get fired. Then I opened my laptop and my workstation and code and work until 10 o'clock. People are spoiled in IT, right? They come to work 9:30, 10. When you work in the like odd jobs, you got to be there like at that time. Yeah. Otherwise, you're fired. They yell at you, right?
Yeah.
They yell at you, right? In IT, people are spoiled. They come to work 9:30, 10. They're grabbing their coffee. They come at 10 o'clock. They have 30 minutes, chat in the kitchen. It's like, anyway. So by the time people come to work, I've done like 3 hours of hard work, and I pretend like I'm so relaxed at work. That's for 3 months, and I worked so hard. And one day, my manager, because one time I think I'd said, if you guys would be great if you don't schedule Friday meetings at noon because I have to go to Juma prayer. I felt like he was irritated by that. He's like a white dude. He was a nice guy, but I felt like I irritated. I don't know. I felt like I irritated him. So I felt like he was going to fire me at some point, right? So one day I was coding, and he tapped my shoulder. Was like, Kuzzat, come with me. I was like, okay, I'm fired. So I followed him. I went to his office. He sat like in front of me like this on his chair. He's like, have a seat. I said, there was like A4 paper, like he's just like 2-page paper. He's just like this, and he's like, take a look. I was like, okay, I'm gonna sign this and go. This is my package. And I'm reading the thing was like, you're exceeding expectation. 4% raise, $2,000 bonus. That's gonna be in my account by Friday.
Wow.
Hey, listen, bro, $2,000 for free?
Yeah.
Bonus?
Yeah.
I had to work for a month to get that before. That's crazy.
Crazy.
How the hell people give you 2,000 for no reason? I've never seen 2,000 like that, right?
Yeah.
I was so happy. That day I was like, okay, I made it. I'm not gonna get fired.
Yeah.
That was the day that I started, relaxed from that work.
That's amazing. Do you remember, did you do anything fun with that $2,000? Did you go to dinner? Did you buy something?
A week before that, a local community here, they were fundraising for a community center. And they were like, hey, Kuzzat, now you're not poor anymore. You're working for IT.
Mm-hmm.
Can you come up with some donation? So I said, $1,000. Okay, like I could do this year. Like I can save up $1,000. I can donate this year because my kids were going to the community center too. And the guy said, you can do 2,000. And I was so scared. Like, how am I going to pay this 2,000? Like, I couldn't sleep. I went to my wife. I was like, they're asking for 2,000. I said, yes, unfortunately, I'm sorry. I have to talk to you. But it's okay. We can make it. So after a week, I got that $2,000 bonus. So it went there directly.
It's amazing.
So
it answered itself.
This you ask, otherwise I wouldn't share.
Yeah.
It's not like some secret spiritual thing. It's just coincidence that I believe.
Yeah. A common story continues to be members of the community giving back and empowering others. Right?
Yeah, my dad one time, you see, my dad is a guy who is a Central Asian man, stereotypical Turkic person, dominant, alpha, like a gang, like a mafia style guy.
Yeah.
Right? And he was a very generous person, right? But because of the Cultural Revolution in China, he was not able to study in school, but he was clever, smart, hardworking guy. He had tattoos, crazy, like things like that anyway. So one time I remember that one guy, back then there was no cell phones, things like that, one guy came to Urumqi from a village. East Turkestan is very big. It's like a few days you have to drive, with the bus. It takes 2-3 days to get to his village. He lost his wallet and no money. My dad was like setting, because we had the small shops, my dad was like collecting like a protection fee, just going, hey, how much you gonna give? Hey, bro, listen, this guy lost his wallet. He's gonna go home. Like, how much you gonna give? He was literally telling people to give money. So I think that has some, as a child, it has some impact, right? Just helping people, even forcing others to help. So I think that this is something I got from my dad, and it becomes your nature. It's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
The community is where, it's good for your kids, good for the humanity. It's good for general. Supporting community is something, it's a bare minimum you have to do.